Yo, what up, Kamikaze Soundwaves, and I am joined this evening by JRPG Gaming. It has been a long time. We used to do these things pretty regularly, but things have gotten pretty different in the world. But we are going to sit here and we're going to talk about Final Fantasy VII. Now, first off, you're a big fan. I'm a big fan, right? We've been dying to have this conversation, so I have my own thoughts, but I am dying to know yours. So just a brief, just kind of overall thoughts on Final Fantasy VII Remake. The floor is yours. Go ahead.
Well, I will say it totally blew me away. The ending, I was well, first let me ask this. Do you want us to go spoiler heavy or no?
Oh, we're spoiling this shit rotten tonight.
Okay.
We're spoiling it. We're talking about the ins, the outs. We're talking, dude. Whatever you want to talk about, it is fair game. We're spoiling the shit out of it.
Okay, that's what I wanted to ask first. Yeah, Sephiroth, I was not expecting at the very end. I was very surprised by that, and the Whispers, that was very interesting, and I didn't really have that much trouble. I did about 50% of the stuff. I skipped all most of the side shit. I might go back later. I don't know, but yeah, the action side of it took a little bit getting used to. I told you my mom, she downloaded the demo a month ago. She wanted to play it, and I had to get used to it. And yeah, and I will say, anybody trying to play it like the OG one, nah, it doesn't work that way. You're gonna die a lot.
Yep, that's true. That's true.
And the not what I had expected either. I was really surprised, even though we're nowhere near finished.
So overall thoughts on the game, just in general, do you feel like after all the fucking years this game was shown to us and promised us, now that we actually have it and you've completed it, do you feel like it's justice? Do you feel like do you feel like it was a fair representation of that game made today?
Uh, yes, and and all the little people, that are bitching all the little changes here and there. It's fine. I like all the extra scenes that we never got to see, like in the original, like Aerith, like finding Marlene and like
Yes, I enjoy. I
taking
enjoy.
her. I liked that because
I
you
enjoyed
didn't
that.
see that in the original game, so that was nice.
Yeah. So I'll tell you. Here's my thoughts on it. Just overall, just real quick. I feel like the game. I don't feel like they could have done it any better than what they did it. I'm gonna go through my gripes at some point during this, but overall, I just don't think that there's a thing that I can really overall gripe overall bringing this game to 2020 from 1997. I think
Yeah.
that it's spot on as it could possibly be. Now, that being said, I am really interested and excited. I want to go ahead and say that first and foremost, but I'm also really concerned with what the direction is going forward. Now, here's the
Yeah.
thing. All right, all the side quests. I did all the fucking side quests because I thought there was going to be some fucking material that I was going to fucking miss out on, and I'm going to like, oh god damn it, I missed something, and that material was going to be great. And I'm like, god damn it, now I don't have this material. Moving on to part 2 or part 3 or however many fucking times you're going to cut this up. I would hope 2, but I'm thinking it could possibly be 3. So overall, I think it was really fantastically done. And I will tell you, like, I honestly feel that the voice acting is everything that I heard in my head as I read those things aloud in my head when I watched them
Yeah.
speak it. I'm like, that's how Barrett sounds. That's how he sounded in my head. They got it spot on. Cloud very standoffish. Him, all the little ladies loving Cloud and shit. I mean, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Now, if I can talk about a few gripes, do you have gripes with the game?
Mm, I'd say a little, but they're like very minor.
You feel like the good outweighs the bad?
Yeah. Well, I saw they had the hard mode, which I'm not even gonna bother doing that. I'm not
Yeah, did you
like
see like the
insane and
restrictions around that shit where like you can't use items and you can't use what was it? Or the save points, like you can't use that to regenerate your health. That doesn't even sound like a fucking fun
Yeah.
time to me.
Yeah. Well, I do like. I'll say this. I do like in the remake that you can basically save whenever you want. Like in the OG one, you couldn't do that. So,
Yeah, that was a nice touch because there was points where I'm like, "Fuck, I got something to do." It's so great that I could just hit the save on it. Um,
let
anything
me
else
ask you
that kind
this.
of? Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to ask. Did you buy a steel material? You have to buy it from what's his name, Chadley, that little kid. You had to buy it from him.
Yeah, I had steel materia, and funny enough, I never really used steel materia in the OG Final Fantasy VII. I did, in like my second or third playthrough of it because that's when I knew what I was doing. But like, I just kind of left the steel materia alone. Did I miss something? I'm sure because you're fucking OG, dude. Did I miss something or something?
Uh, well, yeah, well, I missed it my first time. You have to buy it from him. Like I think for like 100 gil, but the only advantage is like you get some like good weapons for Aerith, and I think some good armor and a few other goodies. That's about it for now, because I'm pretty sure you're like me. I got the best stuff that I can have for all my people at this point.
Oh
So,
yeah. So there are a couple of gripes that I have. Now, first and foremost, I think my biggest gripe with it was the camera. Okay, in
oh yeah,
battle. So you would lock onto someone, and sometimes there'd be, I mean, multiple things going on screen, and I'm like, I just want to target this one thing, and you couldn't. I mean, you could, but it was just a hassle, and it was very irritating
hmm
in my opinion. That was a big one. Um, Another big gripe of the game also was what was another one that I had a really issue with. Um, that was first and foremost. Oh, the side quest. Okay, now when it was doing Final Fantasy VII as Final Fantasy VII does, going straight through the story, I loved it. Now these side quests, you can argue that this is a JRPG, it's a remake, it's different. I mean, I know it tried to give characters to the people around you, and I started to appreciate that the third time I had to fucking do it.
hmm
But I just felt like, all right, honestly, I felt like they could have gotten further in the story if they just would have gotten rid of some of that stuff. And I feel like we could have gotten
yeah,
further in this and just nixed out. They were, in my opinion, I feel that they clearly were dragging out this first part of the story. Now, I loved it. Don't get me wrong, but I do feel like it was definitely dragged out. Do you feel that way?
yeah. Well they already said like the first part was going to be Midgar only, but I do like how like in the OG one that was like 5 to 6 hours, uh and they basically made it into like what was pretty much like a 40-hour game, and of course has some extra like I said earlier, story elements that we did not see in the OG, like
Yeah.
finding like Wedge. You didn't see that in the OG. You pretty much assume like all three of them, Biggs, Wedge, and Jesse, like they're pretty much dead.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and jump right into the controversial part, which I know I'm fairly certain you really want to speak about. So let me tell you what I think, and let me see if you're thinking the same way. Okay, so this is what
hmm
I'm thinking. Okay, so I'm taking this kind of story in the respect of like Dragon Ball Z. All right, I think that
mm
obviously this story kind of already happened as it did, and then everyone died, and Gohan and Trunks are the only ones left, and then Trunks went back in time to fix things. So apparently, in the way that I perceived it, this story's already happened, and this is like
hmm
another timeline. And the Whispers were obviously trying to keep things going in the way that they're supposed to go.
Yeah,
And there's certain parts like where they're driving down the highway towards the end of the game where you're about to fight Motorball, and the bridge is apparently about to kill them. They're going to die. Everyone's going to die. And the Whispers pick up like they stop the bridge from falling on them. That's just an example, but there's tons of other things where they're keeping the timeline going as it should. So at the end of this game, before they leave Midgar, clearly they have a fight with, I would assume is what it's Destiny. That's right. Am I right about? Is that
yeah,
the way you feel about it? Is that the way you perceived it?
yeah, pretty much.
So that being said, do you think that they're going to take this story in a completely different direction? And if so, are you on board with that?
Oh yeah, man, I'm fine as long as Like I'll go and say this right now. I hope they give us an option to save Aerith. That's like one thing I'm hoping. So I do think like next part there will be some kind of like major story event that's going to be a player choice that will affect the story in some way. And I mean, I pretty much already like know in my head like this is not going to play the same way as the OG one. And let me ask you this: I was watching an interesting YouTube video the other day. Some guy was like throwing around theories and shit, and like this one that this guy threw out there, like to me it doesn't even make sense. A lot of people were saying like the Sephiroth that's there, like he's the Advent Children Sephiroth traveling through time, which that doesn't really make any sense to me.
Right, but I also saw a theory where he knows he's gonna lose, so he has come
Yeah,
back through time. So he's trying to alter the timeline so he can come out on top. Even if he still loses, ultimately something will affect it where he comes back and invent children where he'll be on top in that scenario. Something I
yeah.
don't know. There's so many different ways and possibilities they could go about this, and I'll be honest with you. There's a part of me that am interested in seeing something different, but there's also a
Hmm.
part of me that's like, I want to just kind of relive Final Fantasy VII in a new way. And I was really pleased with how I experienced all those same moments in a new way. I kind of want to see that going forward because I feel like at the same time, if Aerith doesn't die, like I feel like I'd be weird about that. Like, I mean, whatever they're gonna do, I'm a fan. I'm gonna take it. But I feel like that's gonna be weird. And I honestly feel that there's people who are gonna fucking riot in the streets, like, no, this is not how this is supposed to go. This is how this happens. How do you fuck this up? I just feel like it's 2020, dude. You can't you'll never make anyone happy, regardless, right? But
Yeah.
I've got I mean honestly I'm excited, but at also time I'm a little cautious, and I hope they just don't rewrite this game where it just turns into like something completely different. I honestly I'm really indifferent. I'm really indifferent on where they're going, but I honestly here's my thoughts. I do think that they're going to do all of the same things very faithful. We're going to see just how we saw in this game stretched out. We're going to see almost the exact same moments, but I feel like the end, because of this whole Whisper Destiny thing, there's going to be just a little tweak at the end. Because I think that I hope, I don't know, dude. I'm completely conflicted. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, well, let me ask you this: how do you think this secondary timeline thing is gonna like play into all this, like this alternate timeline where Zack is alive and he's not
Yes, that's another
dead?
thing. Zach's alive. Like, what does that mean? What does that mean? There's so many questions. I don't even know, like, what their thought process. Like, I honestly don't know where they would go. Now, at the end, Sephiroth says, you have 7 seconds, which,
7 seconds, yeah, till the
yeah,
end. I was like, what the fuck does that even mean?
well, a lot of people are saying that the time that apparently Sephiroth comes down with the sword and he kills Aerith, that was a total time of 7 seconds. So you have you'll now have an option to save Aerith. So I don't
Yeah,
know, that's something thrown around. Which there's comparison. This dude, we're in
yeah.
COVID-19. People have the most random fucking things that are like ideas of
I
what they're
know. Tell me
thinking.
about it.
So there's no telling like what they're thinking, what they're doing. I really don't know what they would do with an alternate timeline, and I honestly don't even know how people would actually go about being okay with it. I feel like if they did something like that, might be Rose. I don't know. Me personally, I would like to see it very faithful. I just wanted to see, like, I know remake is in the title. It's a different game, but I
Hmm.
also thought remake is like it's just a different envisioning of it, and I didn't know we were just going to go completely with a completely different story. I don't know, man. I mean, either way, I'm on board. I'm a fan. So.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna. One thing that's got me hopeful is Square Enix said they're gonna release future parts, at least for the time being, on both the PS4 and the PS5, because I'm not buying a PS5 right now right away anyway. And honestly, even if the PS5 and the next Xbox come out at the end of the year, I mean, there's going to be shortages because of the whole coronavirus bullshit. So,
Well, I feel like there's going to be shortages on multiple levels. Here's the thing. when it comes to PS5, I don't. I honestly, in the new Xbox, I feel like they're definitely not coming out this year, no matter what they say. Here's the thing, in my opinion, there's no reason to release a console in a year where millions of people are out of a job. It just doesn't logistically make sense.
Yeah,
I mean, it's going to be 2021, even possibly 2022 at this point. 2022. Yeah. So I just don't think that it makes sense to make it to release a console at the end of the year where people are out of work and out of a job. Like it just doesn't make sense. I think everything's going to be postponed till next year or the year after. But even still,
yeah,
yeah,
I'd be fine with that, honestly.
yeah. Well, my whole thought on a new console is, hey, man, if it comes out this year, next year, I'm gonna buy it, but I won't buy the first batch of it because I'm not standing in line. I'm not waiting. I'm not doing any of that shit. I will wait till it's easily available, and I'll walk in and buy it and walk out. I'm not going through all that hassle. But you know what? Another really disappointment of the game was that I believe you shared with me that you even knew before he came out. I think you feel like you shared it with me. You couldn't play with Red. Why? Why did they
Yeah,
do that?
yeah. Well, the way I understand it is, the reason why they didn't have him playable is because by the time in the remake, he's like shown like so late, you would only have a brief like amount of playtime with him, so that's why he's a guest party right now. So I think he's going to be like physically playable like whenever part two comes out.
But he was just a NPC, just walking around the background like Red. You want to jump in here for a minute and help out? Like we're fighting Sephiroth. You got 5 minutes for me? You just kind of casually strolling around in the background. I'm like, Red, dude, get on your job. Um, Yeah, but I mean, even though when you picked up new characters along the way, they were leveled up enough. They already had materia equipped. Like you could. I just feel like he could have been easily jumped into. It worked in the context of the story. It absolutely did.
Hmm.
But it was a little disappointing not to be able to play as Red. When you see Red and you've played Final Fantasy One, and you're going into not one Final Fantasy Seven original, and you're going to the remake, and you see Red's there, you're like, I want to fucking play with Red, and they just completely shut you out from that. But I don't know. That was a little disappointing. That was disappointing for me for sure. But
Let me ask you this: which like were there like any parts that you had to like retry more than once? Like the first bike battle mini game. Like I honestly died my first time playing.
I died at my all right. So the times I can think off the top of my head that I had a really rough time was yes, I died the first time playing on the bike scene with fighting motorball. I died. And it's really random. It was a side quest. It was where I had to go into this little like rave place. It was a side quest thing where there was three of these enemies and they just tag teamed my ass to death and I could not defeat them. And I was like, I think I don't want to play this anymore. I think I'm fucking done because it was just unfair. They just surrounded you. The camera was a fucking annoying. The combat, you know, it was honestly. I never played a live action fighting Final Fantasy game. I tried 15 for a couple hours. It didn't work. Long story short, I feel like there was a learning curve for this game for me
Yeah.
because I never played any of those games. So when there was a part in the game where I'm like, dude, I'm destroying shit. I'm beating everybody's ass easily, quick now. But before I actually just caught on, there was a part where in this side quest thing where I just got my ass torn a fucking apart big time by these three enemies on a random side quest. And I could have leveled up and I could have done a little bit more, but I was already there and I'm like, no, I don't feel like going back and doing anything. That was a big one, and those are the two I can definitely think off the top of my head that I really had a difficult time with. Oh, and I died at the final battle with Sephiroth, and that part where he does that one attack where he does big damage to all three of your party members. I died, and I
Oh
had to
yeah.
start all the way at the very beginning. I was like, if I have to do this again, I'm done. I'm not. Fuck it. I'll just YouTube this shit. I was really pissed off.
One thing I learned, like since this is an action RPG, like if you're not in that like circle like radius where that attack is, it won't affect you. I
Uh,
learned that like replaying that a second or third time. I was like, ah.
Interesting. Because I know Eric does that healing wind, so I guess I mean, but that thing expanded out. I feel like the entire battlefield, if I'm not mistaken. Um, oh, and the fight with the like the rejected mutant thing where he spawns those little babies every fucking five
Oh
seconds.
yeah.
That was that was difficult. I died doing that. I want to say twice. I want to say twice. It might have only been once, but it could have been twice. That was frustrating. And again, because he kept spawning the things, and when it was time, I just needed to target him, and I couldn't do so because all his little fucking
Yeah, because he spawns all those like to distract you. Yeah.
yeah. But
But yeah, the first what do you think of that what's that new guy's name that's in this remake? Where you first fight him on the bike and then later you fight him a second time,
yeah,
like when Diggs and Wedge are helping you.
I thought he was.
Like that first bike minigame, yeah, I died and I read up like the PSN trophy list, like, oh, how to get the trophies, like, oh, you had to beat that fight with like 80% health. I was like, oh, fuck that, man. I'm not trying to be perfect. I was like, nope.
I thought it
But
was a
this,
little cringy, to be honest with you. But I also thought the him dancing around the bike and all that shit. I thought that
yeah,
was really cool. Like all the shit that he was doing, spinning around. I thought it was really cool. I thought it was really cool. And even the fight where he comes back and you're surrounded with the Shinra folk, like you're in fucking Shinra Fight Club. You know,
yeah,
that was pretty cool. I thought I mean he was over the top and all kinds of shit. Final Fantasy.
yeah,
Um, nothing I expected. It was out of the fucking blue, but it was cool. I mean, it was all right. Wasn't expecting it,
yeah.
but that whole mission wasn't expected. That was something completely, another
New, yeah,
different perspective on like what was happening outside of your normal timeline that you know. So, I appreciate they went the extra mile with that.
yeah. But then the second uh bike minigame, I died and I had to get used to like using the analog sticks, like moving like right and left and not to get attacked. Oh, and speaking of the analog stick, we're in the original where you have to like just press a button. Like, how many times did it take you to get the like moving the analog sticks like up and down to get the puzzles right?
Too many fucking times.
I know.
Too
I was
many
like,
fucking
okay. I'm like,
times.
okay, try again. And then like, and then the second or third, I'm like, okay. Now I'm getting irritated. Then the like, your stress levels like going up. I'm like, okay, now you're starting to really piss me off. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I was getting fucking mad, dude.
um, I will say though, I really thought that I was gonna finish this game with just no bullshit. The entire time I was playing this game, I was thinking I'm gonna have a Motorball's gonna. I knew that it ended with them the final boss before they move on to Megar, which is Motorball. I had no idea it was gonna be that little bike chase scene. In my head, the whole time I'm playing this, I'm like, "There's gonna be an epic battle with Motorball. Like, I need to get lightning up as much as fucking possible for every
Yeah,
fucking character. The Motorball is gonna be a son of a bitch. He's gonna be really hard. No, little did I know, Sephiroth is just steps in like, no, it's gonna be me. And then I'm like, all right. So apparently, I felt like I was gonna fight Motorball, and he was gonna be turned
yeah,
into a boss, but it didn't happen that way. Um,
no,
I really thought that I'm not gonna lie. That's what I genuinely thought most of this game. That's how that final boss is gonna play out. But
yeah. Let me ask you this. So this was a new twist for the remake. The Air Buster robot boss fight. Like, you could choose which things you could to weaken them. What I did, I chose like each of the different like things, like power, weapon, and whatever the other two things were. I just chose like each of the different like things to weaken him, and he went down pretty easy. So what did you do?
I honestly don't remember what I picked. I remember. I mean, I don't remember specifically what I picked. I just remember going through the computer, and I read all the terminals because I'm like, man, they're hyping this boss up like he's gonna be the second coming of fucking Jesus Christ. Like, what am I supposed to do? Like, I mean, they and that was actually pretty cool how they did that because
Mm,
like they hyped him up. Where I'm like, man, I might have some problems with this boss. The way they're putting it, like, what do I really want to them that boss not to have? And I don't remember what I picked, but every time like I felt like Barrett or Tifa was like or Tifa was like, "This could be a problem." Like, you know what? This actually could be a problem. Let's kill this shit right now. But every terminal, I checked it before I put in my little card, and I was like, "Okay, this sounds like this could potentially be a problem. I'm going to go ahead and kill that." But they hyped that boss up for nothing because I killed his ass right away.
Yeah,
I'm interested to see what that boss would be like if you just don't select anything and fight him
don't do
straight up.
anything. Yeah,
That would be interesting. I don't know. I don't even know if you could do that. It'd be interesting to see if someone like makes a YouTube video like, what if you don't select any fucking thing to fight Airbuster? Is he just OP as fuck and he just wrecks your butthole? It could potentially be that way. But they hyped him up big time for sure.
hmm
I was
but I
actually
will say,
terrified.
I'll go ahead.
No, that was
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, you said yeah you were terrified. What I was gonna say was let me ask you this: do you feel the $60 is worth it? I'll say yes because of all like the new, even even just bosses alone. I mean, you have a lot more bosses than the original. Oh, let me ask you, what do you think of the in the original where they took like enemies that were just regular bosses in the OG game and made them to a boss like the house and that
that was cool.
what's that whatever that
Because
thing
I'm
is
not gonna
called?
lie, when I was going to the area, I'm like, how are they gonna do the house? Because I know the house was an enemy. And then I'm like, man, they didn't come up with a creative way to do the house. All right, fair enough. It's a fucking house, these Japanese guys are watching tentacle porn and whatever they do. So clearly, they're not gonna do the house. It's fine. And then they fucking drop in the house. I'm like, and you know what? Funny enough, my oldest son walked in while I was playing that. He was like, "What the fuck are you playing?" I was like, "I'm fighting the fucking house. Shut the fuck up," Um, and
Yeah,
I'm sitting there legit
he was
fighting him.
pretty hard.
Yeah, he was. But that was another one where I didn't die that one. I by the way, did you played on normal or easy, classic?
Yeah, I played normal mode.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I can't play games easy because I feel like I'm cheating myself with the experience. No matter how
Yeah,
hard the game is, I have to play on normal. That's just my standard. Um, that's just who I am. I'm the Goldie Bears thing. I don't too hot, too cold. This shit.
yeah.
Right in the middle is perfect for me, man. But that was
And they
weird.
made
That was
some
cool.
yeah, and they made that other whatever's that that caterpillar type thing in the
Yes,
Cinder
yeah.
Belt, and after you fight all the four wards and stuff. Yeah, that was pretty challenging.
That one I definitely
Just
died on. I remember I died. That was cool, and I liked how they did. You can start this boss from the previous battle or this battle.
yeah,
Because I died on the second half of it, where it was Tifa, Aerith, and Red. Um, but that was cool. That was cool as hell. That was cool as hell. So they did that. But yeah, I appreciated that. Like, I feel like they were going there. I mean, I feel like even the house, like they brought in every enemy possibly that they
hmm
possibly could. They brought in everything, and I really appreciate the extra effort there. And I mean, obviously, here's a really good question, man. Do you feel that you could enjoy this game not playing the OG Final Fantasy VII? Do you feel like you have to play the OG Final Fantasy VII in order to get the full enjoyment out of this, or even in not playing it, do you feel like you can enjoy this game?
Well, I feel that people could play the remake without playing the original, but they still need to play the original regardless. Because it had it not been for the original being so successful, we wouldn't have gotten a remake in the first place.
True. My honest thoughts are like, my little son, he stepped in a few times while I was playing it, and he was like, I was giving him shit for playing like Persona 5 or whatever. Because, I give him shit sometimes when he plays certain games. And I was like, what is this weeb shit you're playing? So he walks on me playing Final Fantasy 7. He's like, oh, look who's talking shit. Like, look, what is this? And I'm like, no, you don't understand. This is Final Fantasy 7. This is like, from the past. And he's like, Final Fantasy 7? I'm like, yeah, yeah, yeah. So I try to explain it to him. I'm like, it doesn't make sense. I'm like, you can play this if you want to when I'm done with it. Because I bought a physical. Because I had to, dude, I do digital, but I had to have a physical of this game. I had to
hmm
have a physical. And but I feel like he wouldn't understand it. Like you can play it, absolutely, you can enjoy it. The combat is actually really fun, regardless of what I feel like anybody would. I mean, I have my gripes with it, but I think it's ultimately really good and really deep and really fun. But I don't feel like you can ultimately enjoy just a little touches, the little, like you said, like the bosses that they turn in, like, or the regular enemies they turn into bosses, like the house. Like I don't feel like you
Yeah.
fully would understand and enjoy the game doing, not playing the original,
Hmm.
but I mean, it's a great game all around. But I feel like you won't fully enjoy it unless you play the original all the way through.
Yeah, that's what I started doing on my PS4 since Part 2 won't be out for a while. Let me ask you this: were there any puzzles in the remake that gave you any trouble?
No, but I will say in the original, I know you probably could do it in a breeze, but my most unliked part about Final Fantasy VII, the original, is wall
Hmm.
market. I hate going around finding
Yeah.
the hairpiece, getting the dress. I hate doing that. That brings me to another point. I'm glad you brought that up because it's a segue to something other. I hate that part. I absolutely hate that. That literally deters me
Hmm.
sometimes from just doing another playthrough of it because I hate that part. It brings the gameplay to a e-break up, screeching halt. In my opinion, anyway. And it was
Oh,
very
you had to
easy.
get. Oh, I was gonna say you had to get chosen in the OG one because that's a trophy. I just did that last night.
So yeah, I got chosen. I mean I just did whatever the game told me or what I thought I was supposed to do. Um, but that I don't really feel like there was anything that puzzled me that I did. Now, there was one side quest that I literally ran around for about 30 to 45 minutes trying to figure out, but apparently I don't want to spoil the side quest because you said you didn't finish them. I could speak about it if you're okay with it. I will won't.
Oh, it's fine.
So there's one side quest you can't complete without moving forward in the story, which is those doors that have Don. What's his name? Don. I can never say his last name.
Yeah,
Cornero.
Cornero, whatever. Yeah.
So he has those doors with the key, and you get the key from helping. There's a long side quest with it, but apparently one of the doors is in the sewers, and you can't backtrack to the
Yeah.
sewers, so you have to move forward in the story in order to open up that door. Then go back as soon as you go to move forward in the game to unlock it. And I had to
Hmm.
look. I had to look that shit up because I literally ran out for 45 minutes. I'm like, how do I get back down to the sewers? Because I remember seeing that door with a symbol on it. How do I get back down to the sewers? And you couldn't. You apparently had to move forward with the story in order to proceed, which was really fucking frustrating. Because you would never know that. You just wouldn't know that because you would feel that if you move forward with the story, that you move forward with the fucking story, you're fucking done. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So. No, that was it for the puzzles and shit like that. I mean, I don't feel like I had too many other troubles or anything.
And let me ask you this: what do you say like to the people? Well, I'm gonna wait for a sale or price drop, blah blah blah. Then okay, like how do you reason with those people? I mean, you need to play this fucking game.
Well, if you played original Final Fantasy VII, I feel like if you completed that game, you're a fan. You have to be a fan. I mean,
Hmm.
I don't know who plays that game and says, like, I don't understand you. Like, we're not the same person. Like, the game's epic as fuck, in my opinion. All right. Um, I don't know. I feel like if you played the OG Final Fantasy VII, you kind of are like forced into this. Like, you don't have a fucking choice. Like, you have to play this.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're gonna wait for a sale, I mean, do your thing. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Resident Evil, but I'm not buying Resident Evil 3 straight up because that game's like fucking 4 hours long. I mean, I love Resident Evil to death, but I'm not buying that game just because it's 4 hours long. I can't pay $60 for a game that's 4 hours long. So,
Yeah.
everybody has their gripes. You can't please everybody. And what do I say to them? I mean, you're missing out. I mean, but you mean you're eventually going to play it, I'm sure. I just don't know how you finished Final Fantasy VII OG in any time frame you did and don't play this immediately knowing it's coming out. I don't know who that person is. Opinion. But this was the part that you said that I gotta talk. I'm sorry, I'm gonna cut you off, but that fucking Cloud getting dressed up and dancing with that dude on stage,
Hmm.
that was uncomfortable ass shit. I'm not gonna lie, that was uncomfortable as fuck,
Yeah.
dude. I'm sitting there like, my kids were like watching me play this game sometimes. You know, it's a pretty kid friendly game. I mean, I
Yeah.
usually very sensitive. But my son was always like, you know what? No, you got to go. You're not watching this shit. Like, he's sitting there dancing on stage with the dude, and well, yeah, I'm like, no, you guys can't watch this shit. Like, you're not watching this part. I don't even feel comfortable watching this part. Like, I wanted to leave the room. It was uncomfortable. Sometimes this is my face the whole time. Well, you can't see my face right now, but when I was to put up this video, but this is me. It was just uncomfortable. Like I was like, please, just where's the? Is there a fast forward button? I don't feel right watching this shit. And even the scene Cloud sitting on the edge of the bed while he's doing the thrust movements, I'm like, oh, please, please,
I'm just,
how do I get this fucking fast forwarded?
but I will say I'm glad they kept that regardless because it's such a like an iconic scene in the original. Because it would have felt weird if it wasn't there in the
True,
remake. I will say that it
true,
would have
very
felt
true,
weird.
very true, very true. It had it had to be there. And honestly, the whole time I'm playing this remake, I'm like, I can't, I don't, I am dreading getting to Wall Market. Wall Market is my unfavorite part about that fucking game. It's iconic. I get it. It's part of everything, but I hate that fucking part in the original. I didn't hate it here. I thought it was okay. But did
Yeah.
you see that part? You know the school teacher? Did you find her in the back alley? Did you see that part?
I think so.
So behind the honeybee club, the teacher that's
Oh,
telling you to bring in
oh
the
yeah.
kids, I was like, oh shit, what the fuck's going on here? There's some weird shit going on. Anyway, she's like a stripper in her second job. I thought that was kind of funny.
But I will say like in the remake, like it's hard to like when you're doing all like the side quest shit. Like granted, like in the original, there weren't many people due to like limitations like PS1 hardware and all that. Okay, fine, whatever. But like in the remake, like it's hard to like find like, oh, so you got to locate so and so. It's hard with the like cities populated with so many fucking people. I was like,
Yeah, I mean, and you know, it turned it all right. And the way I described it when I was talking to somebody I was talking to, it got very Shenmue-ish
mm-hmm.
during those side quests, and I'm like, I don't want to look for some little girl's cats. Fuck these cats. Fuck, I don't give a fuck about nobody's cats. Let them fucking die. I mean, I'm not trying to advocate for animal cruelty. Fuck these cats. I don't give a fuck about these cats. I want to see what happens next in the story. And that's a side quest. I gotta go around and find 3 random cats. And then I feel like the game's trolling you because there's just cats all over the fucking place. And I'm like walking up to random cats and I'm like, is this the cat? Is this the cat? Is this the fucking cat? What am I doing here? You know? And I'm like, dude, I just want to fucking play the game. It got really weird with those some of those side quests. But I get it. I get it. They were padding it out. Um, I've heard the argument that some people really enjoy that part of it too because it shows the people that lived in the city. Yeah, but that shit was very corny and just very forced and cringy in my opinion.
Yeah, I might go back later and do some of them. But like you, I wanted to see like like I hate how like in chapter 3, like you had to at least I think complete at least I think like 2 minimum before you could like uh move on. But then after that, it was optional. I was like, no, I just want to play. I just want to right now. I just want to do the fucking story, nothing else. I'll do all the side shit later. I imagine you like you and me probably on the same like wavelength when it came to that playing the
Yeah,
first time, right?
absolutely for sure, absolutely for sure. I just really want to move on, but again, me playing Final Fantasy VII, I felt like I was gonna miss something that I would regret not getting, so I did every fucking thing. But again, I had a question for you. What level did you finish the game on?
I was about around level between 40 to 42, somewhere around there, and
Gee,
I didn't
whoa!
really grind that. I didn't grind that much, honestly.
You
I just
had to have because I finished mine at like 37, 38. Max is 50. I googled it after because I'm like, what? You know what? That's a good question. I'm like, what is your max level? Apparently it's 50. Um,
huh,
I did.
that's
I
interesting.
feel like I finished it at 37 or 38. And I think even the better question is like when they do part two, does that carry over? Do you get everything you had before? If you missed out on a certain weapon, do you get the chance to go back and get it? It's a lot of questions, but I did finish at 30. I want to say 37, 37. In Sephiroth, I did. Like I said, I did you die in the final battle at all?
My first time I didn't, ironically, but then when I replayed, yeah, I died like when I replayed that fight like a second or third time. But the easiest way I found like to like beat him is like just constantly like just keep the pressure on him and just keep pounding his ass and like kill as you need to. Because if you don't like stay on him, you are gonna take a lot of damage, especially when his health gets below 75%, and he does that like getting everybody down to 1 HP. That attack you mentioned, yeah.
Yeah. So here's another theory that was thrown out by a video that I watched, and we got to speak about this because this is really interesting, I think. So, you know the three little things that he spawns? Have you seen this theory? You may have, you may not, or maybe you even put this together yourself. Because I didn't. Because honestly, when the game was done, I was like, huh? What? I had to go YouTube and watch, and look up like what the ending mean. Have you seen this theory that
Mm-hmm.
the three things that Destiny spawned were the incarnation of Cloud, Barret, and Tifa, and they were
Oh
fighting
yeah,
their
I
former
saw. I think it was
selves?
like IGN or something about that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So what do you feel about it? Do you think that that's kind of like something to be said about that, or do you think that's just somebody just made up some random shit, or do you think that's like a solid theory? Because the game never says like this is what it is.
No, no. I mean, and honestly, I wouldn't have known that unless I looked it up. And the way I understand it is like it's basically like their like versions, like to keep, like you said, the story going the way it is. Of course, now with that Destiny Whisper destroyed, like who knows where the story is gonna go from here on. And honestly, I'm looking forward to it. And like you, I'm gonna play all the way through regardless.
Right. Yeah, I have to. I mean, I enjoy the combat. I enjoy the game. I enjoy the story. Um, the side quests, or like I said, my biggest things were the side quest thing. Honeybee dance and shit was really
Yeah.
uncomfortable, really fucking uncomfortable. Um, and the side quest shit was just, I mean, again, I'm not a big JRPG, not even, I'm just not a big into like these kind of story driven games nowadays. I used to be. Now again, this game, I tell you, this game. I mean, I would get up like super early. I'd get up like 3 o'clock in the morning, 4:30. And I'd play this shit until like 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. That's how I knocked it out pretty fast. But I either way, I'm a fan. I love Final Fantasy VII. However they're gonna do it, I'm completely on board. I can't wait to see Juno. I can't wait to see Cosmo Canyon. I can't wait to see
Yeah.
Redfather. I can't wait to see Barrett confront his past with Dane. I can't wait to see
Yeah.
all of that shit unfold. Gold Saucer. I can't wait to see how these things unfold. Um, Different timeline or not.
What I was gonna say, what are one thing you're not? I'll tell you, the one thing I'm not looking forward to is the whole like raising like your chocobo to get the whole Knights of the Round. Oh, that's gonna be so tedious.
I'll be honest with you. I never did that. I never did that. Now, did you ever beat Ruby Ruby Red? Is Ruby Red or Red Ruby? Is it
Oh,
just Ruby? I think.
oh, yeah, it's Ruby and Emerald. Yeah, those are
Emerald.
the two
Did you
options. Yeah,
did
I've done it in the OG one. Yeah.
You did? Oh, dude, shit. Now I have watched several videos like on how to do it, and like while they're explaining it, I'm like, man, I need a fucking aspirin. Like this is way too fucking much. You got to use time and stop and this and back and forth. Now I'll be honest with you, I did raise a chocobo, but I never got Knights of the Round. I never did. I never beat Emerald, and I never beat Ruby. I never did it. Probably something I can probably and you even told me that you're
Y-
going through and playing the original again. I am too. I'm actually replaying the original again. I immediately started it like a couple of days initially after I beat it. I'm like, I just feel like I have to replay this game right now. So I'm actually replaying it right now. I'm actually going to blow up the second reactor. That's where I left off.
yeah, I'm at yeah. I just finished the Sector 7 pillar, and I'm just taking my time, like grind a little bit before I go rescue Aerith. That's where I'm at. But yeah, and also the this version, which is pretty much the PC version, pretty much you know, you can press like one button and get your health immediately refilled and get your limit like that. I'm probably going to use that when I fight Emerald later, but of course don't like fight him until you get your final attack and link it with Phoenix Materia, because you have to have something to revive yourself, because he has an attack that does 9,999
I remember very
damage.
well because I thought there was like, you know what? No, I'll fight him again. Nah, I got this. Nah, I got this. I'll fight him again. Little did I know, little old Kamikaze didn't know what the fuck he was doing all those years ago until I learned better. And I just, you know what? I just deemed that like, you know what? That's just a part of the game that I am just not well equipped to ever take on. But I watched a few videos. And I'm like, okay, you know what? For like my probably sixth playthrough or seventh playthrough of this game, I might actually try to take on that task. But I'm actually playing it on replaying it on my PS4, and we're in this fucking lockdown. So like I found this little app where I can stream my PS4 to my tablet. So like I'll sit on the couch and like play. It doesn't work very well. There's a little bit of lag in there with like very complicated games. For very basic games, it works very well. So like I've been chilling on the couch, like playing a lot of my PS4 games off my tablet, streaming from my PS4. It's like remote play, like for your Vita or PSP, and it works pretty decently. So that's actually how I've been spending the last couple of days is replaying Final Fantasy VII. So that way, but
Yeah, that's pretty much what I've been doing since like I said, I finished the remake. I mean, I'll go back and do all the like side shit with the remake later. I even got like two HP up materia for uh red, and I also recommend you getting HP up for the other characters as well, Sid, Yuffie, and everybody else. Even though we haven't gotten to that point, because this is the one thing I hate in the OG version. HP up materia is 8,000 gil. I was like, the fuck.
and the
And
only
of
place you
course,
can buy it is like Cosmo
yeah,
Canyon. If I
Cosmo
don't,
Canyon,
yep,
yeah, yeah, and it's like 8,000. I'm like, the fuck. That's why I'm just grinding and getting money. I got like 30,000
yeah,
gil,
because
but in the remake it's 2,000, which I appreciate.
yeah, because I remember I got my very first playthrough of that game. No bullshit, it took me like 2 years because I gave up on it. I didn't play it for 2 years straight. There was a big gap, and I was like, "Fuck it, I just can't beat Sephiroth. I'm fucking done with this game. This is impossible." But I bought a strategy guide because I wanted to go. I for some reason was still infatuated with the game, and I was like, "Oh, you can do this." I was flipping through the shit. You go back, and so I went back. I flew my little shit back to Cosmo Canyon, bought all that shit, leveled it up, and took on Sephiroth. And that's how I actually beat it. But I can beat him now because I know what to fucking do. But my initial, there was no internet back then. You know how.
Yeah, no internet then either. Yeah,
I didn't know what the
and
fuck I
no
was
fucking
doing.
YouTube either.
No internet, no YouTube. I was playing that shit completely blind, just figuring it out on my own. But yeah, you know, I think this has been great. But fucking Final Fantasy VII remake. Just final thoughts before we probably go ahead and wrap this up. Final thoughts on Final Fantasy VII remake.
Well, let me ask you this. What do you want to speculate like what part two and all that's gonna? I'm hoping they at least go to the city of the agents at least. Like what would be like this is what I want for part two. I want part two to at least be a bunch of like what would have been disc one in the original. I mean, sure you can throw all your side shit and all that kind of in there, fine. But I at least want the rest of disc one to be part two. That's what I want.
So the way I kind of thought about it, now I think that we can look at this multiple ways. You know, you just don't know what they're planning and what they have up their sleeve. But
No, we don't.
um, I do. This is the way my brain thinks about it. I feel like this could go in. And here's the better question: have they told us how many parts it's going to be in, or do we just don't know?
No, no, they have not. No.
That's the thing because I've heard people like, "Oh, this is a 3-part game," and I'm like, "Who said that? Like, when did this come out?"
No,
Because I didn't
I'm
know
like
that.
I don't know where the fuck people are getting this 3-part shit. I'm like they didn't say that.
Yeah, right. Because I never heard that. So my thought process is, I feel they could. I feel respectively they should do it in 2 parts, but you know they're not. They're gonna fucking do it, and however much
No,
money is
there's
how
no way
much.
they could cram like the red. There's no way.
And how much money they made off this
I
fucking thing?
estimate at least three. I estimate maybe four minimum.
I actually think three. I actually think three, and here's why. Because I feel like they're going to do the second part, and I feel like the Aerith death part is going to be the conclusion of part two, and then the third part will be everything after in the conclusion. That's my thought process. That's the way I think. Could be wrong, but that's the way I think it's gonna.
Yeah, well, just like I said, with all the extra side shit they're gonna throw in there. I don't see how they could just fit all that on there. Like this part one, even though it's one disc. Granted, the disc one is just your install
Yeah.
disc, and they just for this part alone, I mean they packed so much shit, and even like you like stuff that I wasn't even expecting. So
Yeah, but I mean, you're right. It could be four parts. Shit, this shit could burn out to five, six parts. And I feel like they'll milk it as long as they probably can.
hmm
They're a business, and game companies are clearly moved in that direction. But I do think, honestly, in my opinion, if they want to do it right, they want to serve the fans justice, they could probably knock everything out in no little. Then they could probably do everything on the second part. Maybe, maybe not. They stretched Midgar out for a long fucking time.
mm
For damn sure. They could definitely do two parts if they really wanted to. It might be a couple of discs. I don't fucking know. But I think three. I think is the sweet spot because I feel like if they worked all the way up
yeah,
to Aerith's death, because I feel like Aerith's death would be a very good part to conclude and have a couple of years off before you moved on. That's my thought process. Because I feel like that's a good breaking point. Like you have time to reflect and you have time to think. I don't know. That's just the way my brain works.
yeah. I'm just like I said earlier, I'm just hoping for that like 7 second thing, like to give you an option, like to save her if you want to, and then I'll create like a separate save for not
Because I
doing
did.
that. Of course, we don't.
Well, go ahead. Go ahead. Go
Oh, you.
ahead.
Oh, you. I was gonna say I'm just hoping for that uh option, and I'll say this: they're gonna like after they're all done, they're gonna probably create a complete edition with all the like DLC and stuff, and I mean I'll rebuy it again on PS5 or whatever anyway with all the like DLC and shit.
Yeah.
Oh, just curious, where'd you go to get your game? Walmart.
No, I went to Best Buy. I went to Best Buy. Because
Oh,
we're in the COVID-19. And I could have bought it digitally, but I'm like, I mean, and look, I'm not that guy. I don't care about boxes. I don't care about shit on my shelf. It's Final Fantasy VII.
mm-hmm.
I want to have this in my hand, and I don't. That's contradicting myself a little bit, because I don't give a fuck about collecting or anything like that. But I wanted a physical copy of this game, so I went to Best Buy. They did the curbside pickup shit, so I fucking ordered it. I drove up to the fucking door, and they told me. I told them my name, showed them my ID, and they just fucking handed it to me in my window. And they actually wouldn't hand it to me; they refused to hand it to me. They just fucking dropped it in my window, and
Yeah.
I just drove the fuck off, came home, and played the fuck out of it.
So that's how. Yeah, I decided not to do the whole curbside thing. I just had it uh shipped to my house, and like, let me ask you this real quick: Are you surprised that a lot of like stores, including Best Buy and all that, like physicals, are just sold out? Granted, there's a limited printing because of the whole coronavirus thing, anyway. But are you surprised by this? I'm not.
No, I mean, but again, I live that digital life. If I can't get a physical copy of a game, I don't give a fuck. I do not care. I bought Doom Eternal digitally, which was a really hype game for me because I love Doom and I love Doom 2016. It was a big game for me. And Doom Eternal, I bought digitally. No fucks given. The one that I was concerned about getting was Final Fantasy VII, but I didn't have a problem with it. I mean, I bought it the day that it came out. I went down there, and I didn't even pull up to the time the store opened. I went there at like 11:30 or 12 o'clock in the afternoon and picked it up, and it was perfectly fine. But I mean, it's COVID-19, man. Everybody's feeling the effects of this shit. I mean, in every aspect of everything. There's no
Yeah.
I mean, everybody in every aspect is just affected, and there's some people who just feel like have rights to games even though we're going through this shit. Like, no, like, we're going through a fucking pandemic, the likes that we've never seen. It's like, well, they should make games a lot cheaper because they're going through a pandemic. Who the fuck are you? Like,
No,
what,
it doesn't work that way.
yeah, it doesn't work at all that way. Yeah, but people actually honestly believe, like, hey, man, you know what? They should sell all new games for $30 a piece because I don't have a job. That's, hey, yeah, so these people who slaved over this fucking game for all these years should just sell it to you for a discounted price because of COVID-19. Fuck off. You know? But yeah, I mean, it sucks, but this may actually convert some of these fucking physical have to having people over to digital. I've seen a few folks, and I won't mention any names, who they
Yeah.
fucking demonize digital like it is the fucking devil. And they're like, hey, I bought a few games off the Switch store. I actually get points that I can use towards my next game. I'm like, yeah, digital's pretty fucking
Yeah.
good for that. Oh man, I got to play this at midnight. Also, another convenience of digital.
Hmm.
Oh man, I can play this shit. I don't even have to put the disc in. The convenience of digital. I mean, there's so many good things to digital. Hey, you know what? If you didn't have digital and your house burned down, not saying that I hope that it would, but that game, well, if you have it digitally, you don't own it. But if your house burns down, you don't own that shit either. So there's so many great things to digital. I mean, my PS Vita got stolen, and all those games I technically had because all the digital things that I could instantly re-download. So maybe this could be a turning point for a lot of people who feel like physical is the ultimate only way to have media. I feel like it's kind of interesting.
Like I will say regarding the whole digital thing, there needs to be some kind of like resale policy. Like, oh, okay, I'm done with this game. I want to like like resell it digitally for money. I don't know how that would work, but there needs to be some kind of like
There's some online places that do that where you can resell your game key. Steam is really good about doing refunds. You can't really do that on console game stores. They
yeah.
really should start to adapt those type of things. That's probably a long time coming. I don't feel like that's going to be anytime soon. That could also help
No.
sway people in the realm of digital. But I feel like if you're a physical only person, I feel like there's nothing on God's green earth that someone can convince you that digital is good. In any way, shape, or form. If you're a physical collector and you got to have shit on your shelf that collects cobwebs and whatever, that you cannot convert. You can't convert the type of person. They have a very straightforward mindset, and that's them. And you know what? That's fine. I respect that. Every gamer is different. I don't really give a shit. My whole motto is I like to play games, and I'll play those motherfuckers no matter how much way I can fucking play them. But gamers, they're very selective on how they play shit. There's people who go out and spend $1,000 on an NES title that you could download on emulation completely 110%
Yeah.
for free. But hey, do your thing, man. You want to spend your money how the way you would spend your money? Spend your fucking money, dude.
Uh, are you? I know BMG's looking forward to this. Are you looking forward to the new Streets of Rage 4?
I love Streets of Rage. I'm looking forward to it. I'll buy that. I don't. There's not a physical copy of that game, if I'm not mistaken. It's probably limited
I
run if
don't.
they'd
I
make
don't
one.
think so.
But I'm not fucking do. Of course, I'm not down in that rodeo or that arena. Yeah, I want to play it. It looks really fucking cool. If I get it on anything, I probably feel like I want to get it on my Nintendo Switch because I feel like that would be a great game to play on the couch and play. It's not a game that I feel like I would set up in my chair in my office and stuff to play. I feel like if I got it on anything, I might get it on Switch. But yeah, it looks really cool. Looks really great. Um, I don't know. We'll see. How much is it? How much is it? 30, 40?
I think it's probably $30. I want to say.
Yeah, if it's 30. Well, I mean, you may not know, but I've been laid off since this shit. So
Oh yeah.
me and my wife both have been laid off. So, we have plenty of savings. We're over 110% fine. But we don't have money coming in, so I got to be a little bit more thought
Cautious. Yeah.
heavy on games that I buy. Like for example, if I was working and everything was fine, there was no COVID-19, regardless of the reviews, I'd have bought RE3 day one. But saw that I saw that it was 4 to 5 to 6 hours long. I'm like, this is the one that I can wait for a sale on. So I'm being a little bit more cautious about the things I buy, especially when it comes to
Yeah.
media and
I
games.
watched BMG stream the RE3 remake. He seemed to like it.
Well, I played the demo. I enjoyed the demo. I really enjoyed the demo. It was really cool. And I was completely down for it. But there was something that told me to watch a couple of reviews before I bought it, and then I saw it. It was, I love RE games, so I can finish them rather quickly. 4 hours? I can't spend $60 for 4 hours, dude. I mean, I know Resident Evil 2 was short, but you also had two separate campaigns that stretched it out to about 8, 9, maybe 10 hours. Uh, but one campaign and you could be done in like 4 hours. I couldn't justify 60 for it. I just couldn't. I just really couldn't.
Well, let me ask you this real quick. What is your like minimum like standard to make a game justified 60? For me, it has to be at least 30 to 40 minimum.
Oh, that's a lot. Actually, 30 and 40 is kind of a lot for me. Now, 10 hours is the sweet spot for me.
Hmm.
I like 10. I'm busy. Right now I don't have work, but, I'm still busy because I got kids and I got to clean up and online schooling and yard work and
Hmm.
what have you. 10 hours is kind of perfect for me. Now, there was older, or not older, but younger Kamikaze, 30, 40 hours. Hell yeah, bring it on. I don't live that life anymore, man. I played Days Gone, which is like a 40-hour game. And Jesus Christ, I got really invested in the game. And after I was invested, I looked it up and it said it was 40 hours to beat. And I'm like, God damn. After like 20 hours, I'm like 25 hours. I'm like, I'm kind of getting annoyed at this. I love the story, I love the game, but I'm like, I'm ready to move on. My brain works. In Xbox 360 days, because I wasn't a big PS3 guy, but most games were about 10 to 12 hours, and
Hmm.
you were able to knock them out quickly, for the most part. And I feel like a lot of people complain that games were too short, and now that we've moved on to, what we have now, now they make these 30, 40 hour plus games. That's kind of a lot. Um, I don't know. I mean, $60 for 4 hours, unexcusable. Not okay. $60 for like 10 to 12 hours, as long as those 10 to 12 hours are extremely enjoyable, I'm all in. I'm absolutely all in. It depends on the franchise and what have you, but 10 to 12 hours is kind of what I would appreciate and what I like in games nowadays. To answer your question.
Yeah, I can understand that. And as far as like other games, I think are going to probably be delayed. I think Last of Us 2. I don't think that's coming out like
They're
this
gonna,
year because
yeah,
of the whole
yeah,
virus now.
yeah, yeah. Um, they should just rename that to COVID-19 and call it a day. COVID-19 2.
Oh, did you hear about there might be a second like wave in the fall? It's like, yeesh.
Yeah, I don't really want to talk too much about it. This whole thing is just it's a bummer, man. It's really put a damper on my life, my kids. So I'm not really trying to talk too much about the COVID thing because
Oh, I know.
it's a bummer, dude. It's just a rough time for everybody in my family. It's a rough time for me. Like I said, I really don't want to talk about it. It's gonna fucking drive me up a wall. But Final Fantasy VII, man, this was a really fun conversation, man. I think we covered a lot of points. I think BMG and Xander. I don't know if you know Xander, and
Oh yeah, yeah, we talked about him. Yeah.
Magnus. I feel like the couple of guys that we talked to. I'm going to share this video. I think they'll get a kick out of this and seeing like what our thoughts are on it. I think it'll be interesting to see what their takes are on it as well. But yeah, man, this has been really, really fucking fun, man. We got to get back to doing these more often, man. And COVID-19 will probably allow me to do that more often. But
Yeah.
it's been cool, man. I'm probably gonna go
I
ahead
mean, we
and
can still.
go
Oh, I was
ahead.
gonna say we can still chat some after you kill the stream if you want.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. But anyway, man, Kamikaze Soundwaves, man, JRPG Gaming, ladies and gentlemen, we Final Fantasy 7. These are our thoughts, and I hope you all enjoyed it. And we're out of here. Y'all have a good one, and
Later, YouTube.
later.